No idea. Hiya, Jen. Not ready yet. Not ready yet, Jen. 2 minutes to go. Trying to figure out which camera I'm on. I don't know which camera I'm on. I've got 4 cameras here and I can't figure out which one I'm on. That one, I think. Morning. Which camera am I on? I don't know which camera I'm on. Morning, Jen. Definitely not on that. Get off. Right. I'll be with you in an hour. There we go. That's better. Right. So we're going to do acrylic today. I think you can hear me. If you can't hear me, just shout out. I'm going to do acrylic. So I've got this big canvas, nearly 40 by 30, something around that sort of size. I'm going to do Bamburgh because a customer wants a painting of Bamburgh, but she wants it doing to her specifications. She wants a nice big sky, not so much water, a bit more beach, and she wants a couple of boats on, so she sent me a couple of pictures, a couple of boats, and she wants her dogs on, so she sent me photographs of the dogs. So we need to accommodate the dogs, the boats, and Bamburgh Castle, which is that one. So I'm not making it as big as that, otherwise it'll. Morning, Alison. Not making it as big as that because it will. I presume you can hear me. Is the sound out? I don't know. Anyway, when we get started, it'll not matter that much. So I've got my paints and my palette ready. So that's the colours I'm going to be using. Mainly for the sky, and you can hear me. Thanks, Alison. Mainly for the sky and part of the water and down through the beach. I'll be using cerulean blue with plenty of white, and I'll be carrying that down right through. Now I'm going to I've marked a little mark on the canvas so that I can focus better. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to sketch it in or draw it in too hard because I'm going to paint over it. So I'll just mark approximately with a bit of pastel. I'm just going to use a bit of pastel stick and sort of mark where I want the sort of area to be. But I'm going to paint right through it virtually again. So I've put this I've got more cameras now, and I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm saying I've got more cameras, I can't find the camera. Wait a second. Not that camera. That camera. So that's a camera that I've just added. It's way back. What I'm going to do is after this experiment, because it's a nice natural light. Can you see how much our Lynn trusts me? I've got plastic all over, cardboard on the floors. She just doesn't trust me. So that camera is actually a nice, reasonable colour. So after this is done this afternoon, I'm going to mess around, see if I can get that camera to get closer in, because the camera that I'm using for focusing in, which is, just bear with me, that one. So that's the one I'm going to use for the actual drawing. Now I can brighten that up when I get going. So I'll brighten that camera up now so that you can see a bit clearer. That little spot on there is just, I put a spot on so that I can focus the camera so I can see the focus. So I think that's all right. So what I'm going to do, you've virtually got the whole of the canvas in this window at the moment, I think, because when I looked at the video of the other one on the afternoon, I found it wasn't showing everything. So this is why I'm going to be working on cameras. I've got coming another microphone so get a better sound, more natural, and I've got all sorts coming. Anyway, these paints, by the way, go back to paints. This here is a new acrylic blue by Stuart Semple. I haven't got it. A friend of ours, Kim, who does a lot of work, has just fetched it in this morning. So I might use that. It's a bit too strong for the sky, I think. But I might use it for one of the boats as an accent. So I'll try that out. Hi, Sue, you all right? Hi, Facebook user. I think to get your name on, you have to go into my gallery and accept the restream admission, and that will fetch you on. There's a lot of blue around the video. Oh, wait a second, I can see it. Yeah. Oh, I know what that is. Sorry. That's only because I'm using a different comment thing. If I go to main view, it shouldn't be there. Give us a second, Jennifer. It's just me messing around with different cameras. That's better. You shouldn't have the blue around there now. It's like I said, the restream, or the people are adding to this all the time, and they've added a way where you can show comments so you can see all your comments online. The problem is it reduces the screen size of the painting. So that's why that is. So these are the colours I'm going to use. I'm going to be adding little bits of burnt sienna, yellow ochre, and some yellow in on the beach area. But basically it's going to be this cobalt blue and a lot of white and water. That's it, yeah. Fine, right. I'll go back to the picture. I'm just going to sort of drawing the castle. So I've got a photograph what she sent, and I'm just going to get an idea. It could alter, but I'm just going to get an idea of where I want it to be. I'm using a bit of charcoal so that you can see it better. So I think the castle wants to be, can you see that mark yet? It's only going in rough, so I think the castle wants to be about here. I don't want it too close, otherwise you have to make everything bigger. The dogs would have to be bigger and everything else. So I think that's sort of the line I'm going to use across there and out and back. I think that'll be the edge. Don't worry if you can't see it, because I'm going to obliterate it. And probably put a few more sand dunes down here. And the water's going to just be back there. And I'll have to make sure I get the water level, because standing on the side. So I'm going to paint right through the sky down into the water, and then when it's dry, I'm going to put a bit tape level so that I can get the sea bang on level. So you've got I'm going to put the sea here. She doesn't want as much sea in, and she wants some seagulls in as well. So I'm going to put the sea about here. Can you see it all? Hi Zena. Blue is gone now, yeah. I know it was the camera setting. I've fixed that. Right, so we'll put the water in about there. I'm just going to move some stuff out the road on my screen because I can't see everything. Like I say, you just have to sort of bear with me on this till I get this sorted. So yeah, so the sea's going to be in there like that. This is going to be beach, and now she wants to put the boats in. So where's the boat pictures? So we've got the boat pictures here. So they don't want to be massive, because if I make the boats massive, I have to make the dogs massive. So I'm just going to put a boat sort of, let's have a look where we're at. About here. I might alter it. So I've got a boat at rest about here. This bottom one. I'm going to draw that one in about there. Sort of just at rest. Like that, just going back up there. And this other one I might just put in the water a little bit. It looks like it's in the water. So I might put that just farther back and sat in the water. And then the dogs are going to go in down here. So the dogs, where's the dog picture? There's 3 dogs. 3 frolicking dogs. She sent me loads of pictures. There's 3 dogs, 3 dogs frolicking. So I don't need them as yet, but I just want to know. So I'm going to put them around about here. So the dogs are going to be here. I might put a couple of people in. I don't know yet. It's no use putting them too big. And the rest is going to be basically beach. It's going to be beach. I might put some sand dunes in down here. So that's going to be it. And what I'm going to do now is start to paint. So I'll just change over to that picture and clear it. I'm going to use these brushes, probably this one. They're soft, very soft. Wow, watching replay. All right, Susan. Yeah. So the soft brushes, and I want this to be soft because I want to put a nice bluey blendy sky in. So I'll just move them out to the road. The only problem is you can see my MacBook is here, and my paints are here, and all I can see is disaster coming. So I'll take these colours out the road for the moment. I'll fetch them in after. Got a glass palette. That's why you can see the white through, but it's a glass palette. I think I might just move my laptop back a bit and put something in between. You know what it's like. Janet, morning, Janet. I am the Facebook user. Switch to use. Yeah, if you're doing the Facebook through my art group, there's a link where you can press, and that allows me to see your name, etc. I have to get permissions to see your name. You see, YouTube, they're not bothered. Right, paint. So this is cobalt blue. As I say, I've got a stronger blue here by Stuart Semple. I may use that for some accents after. You need plenty of this because you need to. I've got a big canvas to cover, so that's about right. And you'll need a lot of white. You need a lot of white. I'll just put that down there, get the white. I always buy the white. These are abstract, Senelia abstract paints. And they come in big pouches or little pouches. They're not highly expensive, so you're all right. Got another comment then, I can't see what it is. In a second, just knock that off. Right. Billy, hi Billy. I'm working away at the moment. We'll be able to watch this. Yes, yeah, I'll save it and sort it out for you, Billy. It'll be for everybody. Like I said, I'm still struggling on getting the cameras and the sound right. Right, white. Plenty of it. You're going to use it. Maybe put it in a couple of spots because if you don't, you could contaminate one. And I'll put some yellow ochre and yellows just separate that I can use as I'm coming down. So a bit of cadmium yellow. Don't need a lot of that. It's just to get a little bit of nice light into the sand area. And mix that with some raw sienna. I haven't got any yellow ochre, so some raw sienna. Raw sienna tends to be just that bit darker. And you'll need these colours for the beach. And maybe a little bit of burnt sienna just to drag some in. It's going to be very sort of watery, washy-watery. And this is just a water spray, cheap water spray. A quid from garden centres or whatever. And the reason I want that is I want this paint, acrylics can dry fairly quickly. I want this paint to stay fairly wet while I'm blending the sky in. And this is why our lin has plastic covers here. I'm walking on cardboard and stuff. Even though we put a protective protective vinyl down, she doesn't want the vinyl to be mucky. So, like I said, I've just lightly sketched it in. I can leave it on this camera if you want. This one or that one. Which camera do you want? This big one here or that one where you can see me doing it? I'll try and vary it around because this is like a tight angle unless I turn it round. No, I can't turn it round at the moment. Right, we'll do that one. Just shout if you want a different one. Right, what I'm going to do is just spray these a bit with water. Not a lot. It just makes them just that little bit more pliable. You don't need too much, because if you have too much water on, the plasticity of the acrylics breaks down. So they keep saying use it like watercolours, but you can't really. You're better off with proper watercolours. So I'm going to try and put this camera on and put a picture-in-picture down at the bottom so you can see the palette as well while I'm doing it. Maybe make that bigger after. So I'm not using the massive brush. I'm just going to use this one. I've got two brushes. That one. I'll use that one. Right, here we go. Just get the cerulean blue first. Oh, I can see why I'm glad I put that tissue in the road. Just get the tissue, that. And it's very strong. You can see how strong this is. Just get it started. I'm just trying to put this in strong to create sort of the dome of the sky. You don't need to come down too far. And afterwards as well, what I'll do is I'll paint around the edges of the canvas. I can't do it while it's on here because the easel's in the way. So I'll put this blue in very strong. It looks really dark. Up there like that. Right. What you do now is you get the white. So I'm just going for the white. Big blob of white. This is what's worrying our limb. Put the white on below the blue. Put the white on below. And this is going on really sort of heavy. Just fetch it down. So you've got to, what you've got to create is this blue, white down here. And you're going to work the white up into the blue to get a blend on the sky. So you're going to work the white up into it. And the best way to do this is just to wet it a little bit so that it stays just pliable. So just spray it a little bit with water and catch the water before it runs all the way down. Just keep using this like this. Big flat brush. Right, now you take this up into the sky, into the blue, so the blue doesn't stay as dark. And you just keep blending, just with big strokes. This picture won't be finished today. It'll take a couple of days, I think, because it's detail to be done. It's not just like adding a big canvas. Normally I make canvases black if I'm doing a lot of stuff, but because this wants to be a nice light sky, I haven't done that. So I've got that up there. I'm going to just taper it round the edges while I'm on, round these sides. Save me doing it after. You don't need to do the edges if you're going to frame it, but I think this is meant to be hung. I think this is meant to be hung as is, so you need to finish the edges off. So I'll just get a little bit more for that side down there. Right, now we want to add more white into this because this is too strong still. So I'm just going to spray it again along the top so it's softer, more pliable, and I'm going to put a lot more white into it. That's why you need plenty. I'm using a big flat. You can use a bigger one, but this is sort of a soft. It's like a nylon type colour, nylon type feel. And you're pushing that up like that into the blue, so that you get a nice gradual blend down. Keep your brush moving across up into that blue, but you don't want to be too dark. Just go for a nice sort of summery sky. The dogs are walking on the beach. Dogs are walking on the beach. People are self-isolating. Have I brightened that up? I'm just going to brighten that sky up a little bit, this canvas up a little bit for you. No, I am bright. It's about as bright as I can get, actually. When I get this the camera rigged up, you might be able to get a bit more brightness coming in. So I'm just picking up white with the brush and lifting it upwards into the picture. A little bit more water. You've got to use the water just a little bit. It helps blend it, smooth it out. Because what you don't want is, if you go on abstract, you could have more dramatic feeling, but you want to be able to. What also happens is if you don't smooth it out, you might just, if you don't wet it, you might drag and leave some white canvas showing through. So that's why I sort of soften it with a bit of water, so there's no white canvas showing through. You still want it to be bluer at the top, but just a graduation. So all I do at the end is I just flick with the brush, the softness of the brush, not the whole brush, but just the sort of end, hold it loosely and just get that sort of end to it. So it just soft. Now I'm going to add a bit of cloud in, a bit of white in, just to create a little bit of broken cloud. Now on the camera it probably looks a bit more dramatic, just the colouring, but it's alright as far as I can see here. It's looking bright, maybe a bit darker over here. Just flicking. I'll have a look at the comments in a minute. Well, that's where the castle's going to be, just there. So I might leave just a little bit of white so that I can see where the castle's going to be. I might leave it white is what I meant. So that's going to be the land and the castle just there. So that's the castle, and that's going to be the sea underneath a little bit. I'll have the sea there, but coming round in front of the castle a bit, which it does do. It sort of trails around. In fact, it can get like virtually looks like a river, because you've got two sort of levels on the beach. It sort of comes in, circles round. So that's coming down to the castle. Just wet that a bit more. Somebody commenting. No flowers. All right, I see. Somebody's landed. That's like me painting the wall, yes, but no flowers. Interesting, lots of facts and info. Thank you, Joan, Elizabeth. I could add a few. You could add flowers, yes. You could pin a flower to the dog. So I've left that just broken with that line so that I can see where I want to put the castle. So you've got this, that's going to be land anyway. What I want to do is drag just a little sense of cloud in. I've actually poured more white out than here, but I've come down. And don't tell our Lynn, because she'll tell me wife. I've just got paint on my shirt. That's another shirt ruined. I should get a smock. I might get a smock. Right. With the same brush, I'm just going to drag a sense of cloud in. Just a flick of cloud rather than paint clouds. Just a little feeling of white into the sky, wisps of cloud. So it just breaks the blue up a little. That's all you need. Just that little bit. A bit more blue in there. Just wisps. Don't try painting in too many clouds in this, because it's not one with fluffy clouds. It's just meant to be catching the light a little bit. I hate decorating with these brushes. I think that looks alright. To look on the other camera. So you can see that there, that's more contrast than what it is. That's a hell of a contrast on that. I don't know what it looks like on the other camera, but that's more in keeping with it. Afterwards, if you want, you can always add a little bit of cloud, but I think that's all right. So what I want to do is fetch this down through the sea and into the sand as well. So I'm sorry, there's just a little bit of colour there. It's where I drew the castle. At least I can see where the castle's going to be. Just a little line there, but at least I can see where the castle wants to be. Just use the tip. Where's that? Just use the tip to flick it. Don't drag all the colour. Just sort of wisp it across, and you get some sort of softer edges. And if paint goes over on our Lynn's floor over there. Right, so I'm going to take it down through the sea, and then I'm going to, afterwards when this is dry, put a bit of tape to get a level, and then drag down a bit darker sea, Gillian, morning Gillian. Just changed over to YouTube. I prefer this format. Be easier. Can see all the comments. Morning Jeannie. Yeah, morning. The thing is, it's getting the comments. The only reason I was messing around with things is because some people said they can't comment on YouTube. So that's why I tried to mess around for you on Facebook as well. But to be quite honest, it gets more, and what was in on Zoom, it gets more complicated. And we end up not doing the painting. We end up trying that much to get the thing right. So that's why I've been messing around, but I will sort it so we don't mess around. I mean, the people who make this software that I'm working on now are trying to get a whole comment section that works together without me having to swap from one thing to the other. Right, I'll put more paint on. Can you see on the front? Oh, the palette's gone. Wait a second. Camera 2. There, sorry. I'll put more paint on. So it's the same paint, cobalt and blue. I've used a lot of white there. And I'm just going to put in the sea down here. And it's just the same colouring. When I come to put the sea in with a bit more intensity, I'm actually going to have to put it on quite heavy, you see. That pastel pencil I used is just leaving a shadow of a line underneath, which won't matter when I put the sea in properly. So I'm doing that and fetching it down into the water's edge. Now she doesn't want as much sea as what I've done on other ones at Bamburgh. So I'm just trying to get it down to where we want. I'll just wet it a bit. See, what's happening is I shouldn't have used that pastel because it's actually staining the paint. So there's a lesson for you. I did that deliberately so that you would know not what to do next time. Don't use a pastel on. We're all right because we're going to use stronger paint over it. But can you see how it's sort of colouring the blue? And this is going to be, wait a second, along the bottom of the castle. So this is going to be underneath the castle across here like this. The water does come, when the water's in, it comes in along here, but it also comes in faster just over that edge and then sort of swirls round. Right, so what I'm going to gradually do, and I've got paint on my shirt again, just wet the paints a little bit. I'll have to have a smoke. What I'm going to do is change this sea to beach so that it looks wetter. I don't want the sand to be totally... I'm having to put this on a bit stronger to get rid of that rotten pastel. But I want the beach to become the sea to look, and the beach to look wet. So I'm going to add orcas and that as we're coming down. A bit more white into there. I'm going over the boats because I'm going to have to lose that colour. I'll just paint the boats in as when. So this is sort of the sea, but don't confuse it with the sky. It will get separated. And I'm going to start adding ochre, yellow ochre, and even some yellows into the sea. So there's a gradual feeling of the wet beach. So I'm just going to get a little bit of cadmium yellow. I've got plenty of white here. Don't know if you can see the white here. Got plenty of white here. Just wet it a bit. This is the same principle. You want to blend it, so it wants to blend in. So I'm just pushing that across. Can you see that down there? I'll tell you what, I'll just alter the camera angle down a little bit for you. There you go. That's the bottom. That's where the beach is going to be in. So I'm just adding this. This is cadmium yellow, and I've just added it into the blue and the white. And can you see it's just a softer blend? Because the sea will, when it gets down to here, will turn more sort of green. It doesn't really, it's just that you can see the beach underneath it as it blends in. So you want a sort of a lighter feel to it. It'll get darker there and we'll put a darker line in afterwards. So this is just a blend. Any sounds you can hear is just howling down in the gallery, working away like a good one. Right, got that. A little bit more just up here. Just spray it a bit. It's just a blend. If you're painting, if you want to paint acrylics thickly, you don't need a spray. You just put it on with a knife, and I've got loads of palette knives, lots of them. So you can put it on with knives and get that into there. So, oh, here comes a stray yellow, Ken.
How you doing?
I'm fine, how are you doing?
Good.
I'm just painting Bamburgh.
I want to watch the video.
Oh, you're watching the video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I said, I have a copy if you want. There's a copy over there. Just help yourself. Ken was here, folks. I've got a customer. Yeah, you just get a cup there and pour it out, Ken. How are you doing? You all right?
All right, you.
Yes, just painting away. Right, so blend the yellow and the white in, so you're getting a softer. Can you see all right? Getting a softer blend coming through there, and then gradually add yellow ochre. It's raw sienna in this case because I don't have any yellow ochre. I don't think raw sienna's a nice colour anyway. So I'm adding stronger raw sienna. Can you see that now? Stronger colouring. Right, so that's going in like that, and it's a matter of blending it into the yellow. It's all about blending in at the moment. Just one colour over it. You can see the pencil lines of the pastel showing through, which I don't like, but I'll be putting boats, etc. in there. So you're blending in like this with the yellow ochre. A bit of water because we need it to blend. So just a bit of spray of water. And just gradually mix these colours. So it's just a gradual feel of beach and water blending. Now darken it down as you come farther over to the left, to the right, sorry. Darken it down as you come over to the right. Add a little bit of yellow into the raw sienna so it's warmer. But do the same. Big sort of flicks with the brush, just using the end of the brush. I'll have to make it a bit stronger down the bottom there. Get that into there, a bit of yellow in there. Bit of water to spray it. You've got to sort of use water on these to blend them together a bit, just for the first sort of washes. It wants to be a gradual feeling of going from beach to water, to wet sand, etc., with your sea showing through a little bit. Stronger over into the right-hand side. A bit more white in there. So stronger down here. And like I said, you need to go around the edges afterwards. So that if it's going to be hung as just a canvas, you need to get the edges. So bit by bit, I'm darkening it down over to here where the sand dunes will be. So just adding more raw sienna into that. I'll flick it round the corner a bit. Alison, we can't see the button. You can now, can you? Can you see the button now? Yeah, you can see the button now. I moved it, Alison, I know. All you do, Ken, is just press that thing down at the top. And then there's coffee there. Yeah. It's all posh. I've got a coffee station here, folks, you know. Right, so we're getting this Right. So we're getting the sand to be darker. It'll be wet, but we're getting it to be darker over into the right hand corner, and we're blending it into the sea here. So there's a gradual feeling of very little bit of water on the beach coming in, just rippling in and showing some of the sand underneath it. Once we've got this in, then we can start, just add a bit of yellow, we can start adding more colours in. So that's going to be sort of the end of where the castle's going to be here, into there. And the beach is here. The dogs are going to be in somewhere. And do the same, just edge of the brush and just flick it in. That way you're just blending very lightly and not creating, because we're not out to create dramatic edges at the moment. Add a little bit more yellow into the yellow ochre just over here, the raw sienna, just to get a little bit heat into the sand here. You alright? And just take it up to where can you see this right hand side?
Yeah, that's it.
You see it on the telly, yeah? So this is basically going to be sand dunes up here. Just stick it around here. Dampen it, spread it, and like I say, I've got lines showing through where the dogs would be or whatever. That will get lost into there. So that's your general view. That's the general view of where you're going to be. What I'm going to do is just leave it like that for a second. I'm going to measure up where the sea is going to be and put a bit of tape on and just get. I need a ruler. I need to get a clean straight line. This is the problem. The fact that I'm working from the side means I cannot see what's level. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I ended up with a painting on a slant because I'm working from a corner edge. Yeah. Right, I'm just going to use a bit of tape. I think the sky's dry. Castle's going to be there. And I'm just going to mark a line for the sea and hope that it's level. I think I want the sea, got the castle coming in there. I want the sea to be about there then. I haven't got a ruler, so I'm just going by eye. That looks about level, doesn't it? Yeah, that looks about level. So the sea's just going to be here. The castle's going to come in front of that. So get your same colours, but stronger. Get your cobalt, your cerulean blue, a bit stronger. Still want to whiten. You don't want to be too dramatic of a difference. And paint through. Sort of paint downwards from the tape. And get this darker blue in. Just a little bit more over to that side, I think. A bit more darker just over to there. Right, just take that off before it settles and hopefully it hasn't stuck a lot of paint to it. And that gets you your sea level. And then what you're going to do is blend this back down again. Just blend it in. And then we're going to put waves, etc. in as we go down. So I'm just adding white to it and blending it upwards. So it's a gradual feeling of the sea getting dark. We need to put darker bits in and we need to put lighter bits in for waves. So you don't worry too much that it's blended at the moment. Just give that a bit of a squirt. If the edge is strong, if the edge looks too strong, you can soften it with a damp brush afterwards. So it just sort of blends into the sky. So it's hard at the moment. Afterwards, if I feel it's too strong, I can just soften it with a damp brush. So that it's just a gradual blending. That you don't want dead hard lines on the horizon anyway. You want it to feel as though it's blended in. So I'm fetching that down, just adding more white into it and blending it down into the beach that we've done. And bit by bit we'll add waves in, just a little bit of canvas shown through there. Bit by bit we'll add waves in, etc. I think that looks all right. We'll make wet patches in the sand. We'll also make ripples into the water coming in. This is just really getting the basic colours in underneath. Just going to add a little bit more white into that yellow ochre. Just going to make it a little bit lighter over into the, just under the castle area. Just under where we're going to put the castle, I'm just making it a bit lighter, and then I'm going to add a little bit more blue into there to get the water in. So you want it to feel as though, as you're looking at the distance, the sun gets lighter as well. So not just going up in one colour. It wants to feel as though it's getting lighter as it moves away up the beach. So you start off lighter with this. Start off lighter. This is the same colours, except there's a bit more white in. Just wet it a bit. And then bit by bit, just do the same as what I showed you, just flips. So it's a gradual blend going from, that's the water. What you can see there is the water has just hit the paint as it's drying. It's starting to dry and the water's hit that. But it doesn't matter because I'm going to go over it with other colour. So I'll let that dry too much before I flick the water in, which is causing that them speckles. But I am going to paint over them. All I want to do at the moment is just blend in. Create these lighter patches into the beach. A bit darker here and there. Dry very quickly, Chris. This is already drying down here. This area here is dry, which is why I should have sprayed it a bit earlier, but it doesn't matter. And I want to sort of drag out a feeling of the beach sort of coming out in sort of steps. So it's going to be lighter here, which is this, but I want it to come out as though it's coming out just over here as well. So a bit more white. Just lighten the beach up. So the water's coming in sort of patches, like rivulets type thing. So I'm just lighting the beach up through that area there. Am I in the road there? I will alter the cameras. I just need to work out where the cameras need to be. I've got a friend of mine who's a camera expert going to come down, Peter, afterwards. I'll have to get in touch with him and sort them out. Right. So you've got it sort of established where you want to be with that. Now, I'm not going to, oh, I can do. I'll just put in where the sea is going to be, but I might alter it. So that's where the blue and the white's going to sort of come through, like that. But I may alter that after I've got the castle in. So the sea actually comes round the landscape and I may have to put a bit more into there. I've actually drawn a boat up there, and then it'll wash round this area here and then wash round into this area. That's a bit dark. I will soften it down. So I'm just going to block in with a smaller brush. I know what I wanted. Lynn, can you do us a favour? Fetch me some water. I want to look at the brushes in. Fill this tub for us with water. This tub I've got a beer. You don't know bells. You don't have to fill it. Right, so, sorry about that. I just need water to put this brush in so that it doesn't dry hard on me. Right, so I'm going to block in where I feel the castle needs to be and the land, so you'll see. So that's sort of, that's intensifying the colours. They're a lot strong, aren't they, Ken? They're a lot stronger.
Yeah.
They're a lot stronger on the camera, and I will get my friend to alter this camera. It's just too vivid. So that's sort of where you're looking at. Chin is just stuck in there. I'll just put that brush into there. That was the whole idea. Do you want to be on the camera?
No, I'm putting my hand in.
That is Lynn. Right, so I'm going to block in where I want the castle to be, and they sent me a photograph of it. And I'll just get the photograph. I've got a smaller brush. I'm still using like a soft sable type brush, something like this. And I'm just going to block in the castle and then start lighting. So I'm going to use some burnt sienna. So I'm just going to wet the burnt sienna. All I'm going to do is build a silhouette up first. So I'm going to just build this sort of silhouette up using the... In fact, I might put in... Can you see? A second. Can you see the bottom picture? I might add in some of the blue into the burnt sienna so it's just a bit as though it's sky. And I'm just going to block in using this photograph they give me of where I feel it needs to be. It needs to be up here. I might have to raise the... If I put the castle in there, it's going to be quite high. Yeah, I'm going to have to go about this height here. And I'm just blocking shape in. I'm not trying too hard to do anything. That wants to come along there like that. Down there. Along there a bit. This is just a silhouette, so don't take it as gospel. It'll get finished off as I go along. Down there. So that's going to be the castle. Along here for the other sort of towers, and the end tower about here. And just block that in. Leave it like that if I'm doing a night scene. So it wants to come down. That's sort of the castle area. A little bit of sienna in just to light the patches up. So I'm just using a little bit of sienna in just to give some light into it. It'll all get it just because she wants a proper shading. So I'm just adding a bit of sienna in there. And then I'm just going to put some of the same blue and the yellow, the cadmium yellow and the cerulean blue, and just create the land sort of mass. So you wants to come out here like this, the dunes, and then over to this side, and gradually finish around the edges like that. And you want it darker as you're coming over to here, so it's sort of coming down here like this. So I'm actually going to have to put in a bit. I'll have to take this up a bit because the sea's lower down. So I'll take that land up there like that. And that doesn't want to drift down to exactly the same height as the sea level. It wants to come in front of it a bit. So it wants to be down here. Everything will get sort of tidied up. So the sea level, the land wants to come down and the sea wants to be going round behind it. And I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow into there to lighten it up in places so you can see it like this. So I'm just adding a little bit of yellow and green into there. And that's going to be land. Now mix ochre and yellow together and just get sort of the cliff. There's a cliff just here, just below the castle, like a cliff ledge. And that comes down to about here. These are sort of photographs she must have took. It's just a matter of what, I mean, all the shapes get altered as you go along. There's biscuits over there, Kenny, I tell you, there's biscuits.
Oh, I want this one. Thank you.
That little pack there has biscuits. Oh, there's one in front of you there.
Thank you.
Just Ken eating all my biscuits. So you're missing the biscuits and the coffee. You're missing the biscuits. I know we can't all come together at this stage, but we will do. Right, so I'm just putting some light areas in, just to sort of separate the dunes. The dunes from the castle area. And these want to come along here like this. So that's sort of the area which I'm looking at for the castle. And I'm just blocking it in. Yellow and sort of, I'm saying yellow ochre, it's raw sienna really, just to create this light coming across here. And I want to fetch some dunes in just a bit farther down, so you just feel as though you're at a different angle. It's a bit dark in here. The reason I'm putting that darker in is because I want to sort of fetch in just along the bottom here, another sort of angle, as though the dune is coming out just that bit farther, like in front of it a little bit. So I'm just fetching a bit like that into there, so it's darker. Add a little bit of burnt sienna into it so it is stronger. And that's going to be sort of the dune coming in like that, and then grasses across the top of it with light yellow, etc. And this one's to the left. I want to be able to see the beach going past it, and of course the tide so far in. So you're just sort of getting this established. You've got the lighter colours like that. This is a sort of a dune in front of a dune down here like that. Into there. That's going to be the area. I'm just going to put a bit of ochre into the, or raw sienna, into the castle a bit. Just so it starts to lighten it up, because you don't want it all dark, you want it sort of lighting up and get it squared off properly. Which we will do. Bit of light into that side of it. It's just a little 1/2-inch flat brush that I'm using. I won't be using palette knives on this, I don't think, because it's not meant to be a thick area. And then in front of that tower there's a lighter wall, so get a little bit of your sienna, raw sienna, a little bit of white, and just start suggesting the sort of the area in front of that. So there's an area coming along here like this, with sort of turrets in. It comes along there, down there, into there, like that. And then you've got the cliff side. You've got the cliff side just dropping down there like that. And that will do as a sort of a starting point for that. So you've got to get that area into there. Now you see that what you want down this bottom end is you want the sand dune thing. So you want a drift of the dunes up into the grasses. So you want a lot of white and the sienna. A lot of white and the sienna. And just drift upwards into it, a bit more white in it. It wants to be fairly light. Just drifting upwards, a little sense of the sand dunes just along the edge there, just sort of a drift up so where it's catching the light into there. You don't want any green underneath, you don't want any dark underneath that. This is sort of the corner of your dune. You don't put darker grasses across it. Like that into there. I think it's alright.
Oh yeah. Good.
Into there like that. And the same into here, same into the bottom area. Sort of the raw sienna, a little bit of white, and just creating softer breaks into the dune. And then gradually you'll come in with detail and tidy it up. That's looking alright. That's sort of the other camera. That's sort of what you can see. It's more stronger, the colours of this camera, but you can see the shape of it down there. So down there. Right, so I've got that. I want to take a little bit of water, blue sea around here a little bit, and establish that area because it's looking a bit lost off just there. That could be waves lashing up against the side of the cliff. So I'm just going to go back to me. I've got a smaller brush. Wait a second. I had a small. There it is. Got a smaller brush. It's just like the other one. It's a bit harder bristle, but it's a bit smaller. And I'm just going to take some blue and white across the bottom. In fact, this is maybe too hard. I'll see. Just take some blue and white along the bottom of where you want the sea to be coming round. So just under the dunes there. Just take that round. Just gradually lose it, blend it in. We'll soften it up because you want like white ripples like that. So you will be putting ripples of water in. But I want the sea to look as though it's going round the edge a bit of the castle, and it sort of washes round. So just into there, still leaving beach below it, but just sort of creating an area where the sea would go. And like I say, you can tidy that up afterwards. Everything's just blocked in at the moment. That's going to be the sea, and it will gradually disappear round the edge. At the moment, just blend this in. I'll just go back into the bigger brush because this brush feels a bit hard. I'll tell you what I will do before I do that. I'll put a sense of the sea going round the back. I'll just get me stick. I've got a stick down here. 1 second. Can I get round? I'll have to bend down and get it. Oh, getting too old to be bending down. Right, this is a marl stick, a modern version of it. It's a modern version of the old-fashioned marl stick. You can extend it or lower it or anything like that. It's basically used for resting on the top of the canvas like that and supporting your hand. So it's like sort of that area, so you can support your hand on it. Go to that side of it. I'm just going to try and blend that sea round that corner a fraction. Am I in the road a bit there? So the sea's going to go around there, around that edge. I'll tidy it all up after for you. So it's going to go around there like that. I've obviously got canvas showing here, which I'll have to blend back in afterwards. In fact, I'll do it now. Just blend that in. just blending a bit of cloud and sea down, and sorry, sky down to there, so it's through there. I'm just going to swap this because it's a bit hard and just go back to the softer one, which I'll just dry off. It's a messy business, this painting. You'll love it. Right, just drying the brush off. Just have a quick check on any comments. No more comments. Everybody's happy. Right, so I'm just going to paint into this sea a bit. Am I on the right canvas here? I will alter the cameras as I get sorted. I'm just trying to create the sort of the feeling of the sea moving across with ripples in the distance and coming along here like this, just below the sand dune here. And then, like I said, will ripple in all over the place. So you can sort of see the edge of the land, and you can just create little soft patches of ripples through here. Quite light at the back, quite light, but I'm using the long edge of the brush and just sort of pulling it across in like a diagonal fashion. And just dragging some of that into the beach up there. Just a little sense of water ripple. As you're getting farther across here, you can add more white into it. And just getting these sort of ripples going. You're sort of moving the brush like that and coming towards you, so the ripples are going up the water's edge. It's just getting started, and then gradually darken parts of the water and lighten parts of the water. So I'm just sort of blending it. I'm going to put boats in this area here anyway, so down here, just to get a sense of where it's going to be, a little bit of white. And just creating a softer feel of an edge going up the sea. You want the nice soft ripples into the beach. Like that. So where are we at here? We're going to put waves in, darken the sea down in places, but that's just really a matter of getting a suggestion of where you want to be. And you can put a little bit more white just around here, just so you get a feeling of the water being over the sand and just rippling across it a little bit, just in. So you're just getting that little sense of wet. Well, not wet sand because it would look dark, but as though the water's over the sand. You'll get darker sand down here afterwards. You just want to feel as though it's coming in, the sort of the tide coming in or going out, and just leaving a little sense of light onto some of the edges. I'm just going to drag a little bit more into this area here. A little bit of ochre in, because I just think it's a bit bright just there. But I'll place the boats in place first before I do too much. I just want to know where the boats are going to go. All this is to sort of ripple in bit by bit. I think you can see the bottom, can't you? Yeah. Just split the camera a fraction. There. You see the bottom. Castle looks dark and strong at the moment, but it will get colour put into it, so don't panic on it. Bit of texture in so you can paint it. Once that's dry, I will paint in detail, bit by bit, and build the detail up. So I want the boats I want the boats to be sort of suggested where I want them to be, so I'm just going to get, got brushes galore. What do I want? Just a little flat. I just want a little flat just to mark in the boat. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. This colour is Stuart Semple. It's a new blue he's invented, acrylic blue. And Kim, who comes to the gallery, uses a lot of his stuff. So she's fetched this in for me to use. I'm just going to use a bit of it just to see. I think you might squeeze it out, do you? No. I'm just going to use a bit of it just to see if and line the boat up. So it's quite strong. So I'll just pour a little bit out. It's quite a strong blue, that. Can you see the blue? Quite a strong blue. Right, go back to the camera I'm using. Like that in. So I'm going to, where's the pictures of the boat she wants? Right, so we've got two boats here. I've got to put dogs in and boats in. So I think the boats want to be about here. So that one sat on the water's edge a bit and that one just tilted up and the dog's over here. Right, so I'm just going to line the area where the boat's with this very strong blue. And I'm going to put this bottom one in, this one in. I think I need the camera over this shoulder.
You do.
I think I need the camera over my right shoulder, so I've got a new camera down there. I'm going to fetch that round afterwards and see if I can clip it over my right shoulder, because I'm in the road a lot. So I'm going to put this boat in. I'll just stand back a second and have a look where I want the boat to be. I don't want them too big. I'm going to put it about here. So I'm just going to paint this strong blue in, just to get the shape of where I want the boat to be. So that's sort of the front of it, sort of curves over to the side of it like that. It's this one here at the bottom, coming down like that, to sort of a darker bottom, and the bottom of the boat goes out across there, because it's sort of leaning over, it's tilted into the edge. So it's tilted a bit like that. I'll put it in strong so that you can see where it's going to be. It is a strong blue, this. It's sort of greeny, this boat, so I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow. But I'm not going to make these boats dead sort of neat. I'm going to roughen them up as though they've been around a while. The main thing really is just to get it established, and there's some buoys hanging off it. A little bit of white across the top for where it's going to be. And down there. And just a little bit of colour in for the buoys sort of hanging over it. Like that. Right, that's sort of the shape I want. And I'm going to put the other one as though it's just in the water. Just use a bit of ochre and white. I'm just going to put this one here, about here. I'm not making it too big, otherwise it'll not look too far away. It wants to look farther away. So that's going to be, that's the inside of the boat. That's like the interior of the boat sat there, like that. And I'll just use some white to get the back of the boat. The back of the boat's going along like that, and down there like that. And that's going to be sat just on the sort of the edge of the water, curving around like that. And sat in the water. Now what you want as well is to get a sense of colour reflected into the beach and the water. So you need to, below it, to sort of put a little bit of white and colour into the beach. so you get sort of the reflection of the because the sand it's water in here, so you need that sort of reflection in there a little bit. It's just a matter of building it up, and then you bit by bit you just go in and detail it. So that would be the sort of the seat across, if you see what I mean, into the boat. Now this one, I want a sense of shadow as well as colour, so I need to create a little bit of shadow. So I'm just going to, I had to get some water up here. It saves me having to go down. See, at home, I just go into my bathroom and clean the brushes in the sink, which is why I'm down here now. I've been banned. Right, I want a sense of shadow and also a sense of reflection. So I'm going to put some shadow in first. So I'm going to use that strong blue that Kim fetched me and a little bit of burnt sienna. And I'm just going to create a dark area just under that board. It's not going to be dark all the way, it's just getting this sort of little feeling of a little bit of shadow onto that edge. Down there, and just a fraction going through there. Now you need to lighten that up. You do not want a strong black shadow, so I'm just going to add little bits of yellow into there because we've got a greeny colour to it, so I'm just going to flash bits of green into that, bits of yellow into that, little bits of white into it in parts, and just create these feeling. I mean, I'll put some ripples in as well to make it look as though the water's just coming in or just going out. And then for the boat itself, for the reflection, you would just want a little bit of reflection down there and a bit of white into it. It's all building this up, so you're just building up a feeling of light and dark into the water. So you don't want it, just a sense of ripples here and there. I'll close in, I'll tell you what, I can close in a little bit on it for you. If I figure it out, I'll close in a bit. Give us an hour or so. Yeah, right. I can zoom in. There, I've zoomed in. So can you see the sort of, it shows on there, yeah. So you can see sort of this sense of wet shadow and reflection combined, just to build up these levels. Make the reflect a bit of white down there just to reflect the top of it. I'm actually going to paint in more detail. I'm just building this up. So down there, a little bit of white. And then all of this will be a mixture of, beach, sea, etc. So a little bit more blue, just under there. Like that. And then you can put darker blue. I'm going to use some of Kim's stronger blue. If it's too strong, if it is too strong, I'll take it out. I'm just going to suggest some. Now where the white was, you want some darks just underneath. Just get that blue a bit stronger. It's just to start this. This is all this is just building bits up, and then we tone it all down. So just building little bits up. Down there. Little sense of the waves coming in, but you're gonna blend these in so they don't stay too strong. It's a very strong blue that I might just tone it down. A little bit of movement into the bottom corner. Now over to here, I want some darker bits of seaweed, etc., and even rocks coming in from this side. The dogs I'm going to put in about here. I'm not painting these dogs like big massive hounds because I want them about there-ish. I don't want the dogs to be the main part of the picture, so I'm going to put them in around there. I want some darker bits down there, so I'm just going to use some burnt sienna, some of the blue, that dark blue, and some of the burnt sienna, and create some darker patches. I might have to turn the camera round a bit so that you can see it. Can you see that already? You can, can't you? You can see it, yeah. Right, so a bit stronger, little bits of edges just down here. Just put them in, block them in. It's all a matter of blocking in today. Just getting little edges in it, with stones, and we'll have some seaweed in as well, and probably just a little bit more here. Now I will drag over this with stronger colouring just to establish it. But down in this corner, you need some darker areas, so just into here like that. Just creating this end bit. A few little bits here and there, like that. And then yellow ochre, also in with the brown, and just darken down into this bottom corner. I've got water running down this brush off the pan I've just put it in. And blend some of the browns. Blend some of the browns that you've done down into this, so there's an edge, a darker beach just down here. Just blend them in so they just soften underneath them. What you can see is bits of water dripping. It's just a matter of getting these edges in like this. Under there a bit. Put some stronger colour in there down here. I also like stronger colours down the bottom edges. And a bit along the bottom, along there. I will make these into bits of rocks with light on the top. You can imagine that you just have a little bit of light across the top of them like that, just in edges like that. I'm just putting them in just so you can see where you're going to be. You don't want too much detail down this side because you don't want a lot of detail at the corners. But I'm just going to blend some of that in down there. So it's just a gradual feeling going through there. Like I said, the whole process is just blocking it in and then coming down bit by bit with detail. Right, what I'm going to do is block in more detail into the castle. So I'm just going to get a smaller brush. Got dust on that one. That's what I want. The longish brush, flat, like a bristle. Where's the picture? I'm just going to start blocking in little bits of lighter areas into this castle. So I'm going to use the yellow ochre or the raw sienna as it is, and just start blocking in. You want a darker shadow down that side of it. So this side here, the front facing one, wants to be light. So the front facing part of the castle wants to be light. Up to there like that. And this is just raw sienna and white. Down the edge of that, little bits of castle. There's like a windmill base just there, just like a windmill base just there. And just working along. Now this is darker side. You've got the odd little bit of light coming down here, and the odd little bit of light coming down here, and into here bit by bit. It's all just a matter of getting it blocked in. That wants to be lighter just there, like that. And then you want lighter colouring coming round the front wall. So that's where your sort of windmill effect is just there, and a light effect just there. And then you've got a little wall just in front of that, another little bit there. You've got this wall that comes along, steps down, keeps coming along like that, stepping down. to a lighter sort of area there where the gate's going to be. So we're just putting that in. That's going to be wall. That's going to be wall. That's going to be sort of just below that windmill area. There's sort of a little bit of cliff edge with the wall going up like that. Tidy all the edges up, and now I'm going to go along the bottom edge and create. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put some yellow into this blue. This is the strong blue that Kim fetched in, and I'm just going to mix a little bit of it's a really strong colour. Just going to mix some yellow into that and just get some light coming over here. This is the green at the edge of the castle, at the edge of the tower, coming down. A bit more yellow into there. Just coming down here like that. So this is the sort of the edge of the grasses going up the side of the castle, just to the edges along there. Little bits of light just to suggest the lighter sides of the dunes was coming in. A little bit lighter still onto this one. So you want this one to be forward of it. So you're just building up lighter edges across here. And then down the bottom area, and I think I might have to fetch the sea down a bit. Down the bottom area, you want the light sort of grasses that come onto the dunes. So I'm going to fetch the sea down a bit more. So I'm having to take the sea level down a fraction more, because otherwise the castle's too short. So this is going to be sort of the grasses, the very close dunes, just coming down through here. And it gradually turns away, so you can layer it up. It doesn't go out as a dead straight line. It turns away, corners away around the edges. So just putting in these grasses along here, and just blending it down to the sea's edge. Lighten it up just across the top there. Just taking it around the corner. A little bit of white and sienna. There's a just down there. There's a wall just here. So there's like an edge wall, and it goes round there and up to that gateway there, and underneath there. Like that. Darken down behind this, because you've got like trees and dunes just going behind this that's coming down. So you see a darker edge just behind us, getting that area in across there. And I've mixed the yellow and the blue together quite strong. So I'm just going to put in some dark areas just here, just at the bottom of the castle, coming down to the lower grasses and dunes down here. Darken it down. A little bit of more burnt sienna and blue for the cliff edge just here behind that wall, just a cliff edge. We'll drag later. I'm going to paint this in quite a reasonable amount of detail. And the dark side of the castle wants to be dark on the left, going away from you, so you want a sort of a darker edge down there. Tidy it up afterwards, and that sort of goes into there. I need to make that a bit wider. Yeah, I need to make that just a bit wider. So I'm going to put that down there, and I'm going to widen the top of it a bit. Just wants to come over this way a bit more. That's better. Just had it just too narrow. And then you can suggest detailing it. All the details going into there. Just building. That's looking all right from a distance, isn't it? Getting the feel of it. So all of these down here will be picked out. I'm going to just paint in some wet sand here. I'm not putting the dogs in yet. I might draw them in before we finish, but I'm going to put some more sort of feeling of wetter sand into this picture. Just using the big brush again. I'm trying to keep paint off my laptop as well. Right, just into there. So I'm just drying this brush out. Get rid of the excess water. I've already got on my shirts, the shirt's ruined anyway. But my wife doesn't mind. Right, what I want to do is create a feeling of some wetter sand here and there. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of the, oh, it's hailing out there. I love these summer days. Right, just get a little bit of the ochre, the yellow ochre. It's raw sienna really, I keep calling it yellow ochre. Just squeeze a bit more of that out just over here. I've got plenty of white. That's certainly coming down. Right, I'm going to wet the surface, otherwise it'll go on too hard. So I'm just going to wet into the sandy area where I want it, and then just start blending ochre and white in. Right, can you see that? Yeah. So blending this in and just sort of push it in parts here and there. So we just create a feeling of various colours in the beach, a bit stronger down here, into this dark here. Now what you want to do is blend this, so you just need to spray it a little bit, and you want it just flicked. Just so you get variations in. You can, as I say, you can strengthen it down in places afterwards. You're just trying to create a blend. Drag some of this, the yellow ochre and the white, the raw sienna and the white, up into this area here, and just blend that up and down. So you create broken bits. You create a feeling of broken bits of the sort of the sand and little bits of seaweed. So we'll put a trail of seaweed in, but when you see just brokenness, don't sort of fill it all in. And you can drag a little bit of colour right through it just to create a little bit of light into there. You know, I put colours all over, but I didn't put a colour there. So I'm sort of dry brushing down into these darker bits. I'm sort of dry brushing bits down so that it breaks it up so it's not too complicated, not too much. A bit more white into places. And I'm going to use the white with just a little bit of sienna back into this area over here. And just create some feeling of lighter sand over there. Just yes, you want areas of sand that look as though they're wetter, and areas that look as though they're just drying out. And then you want areas blending into the ocean, into the sea. It's a sea, isn't it? North Sea, not an ocean. I'm just going to tone that blue down that I put in earlier, because I think it's just a bit too much. It's wet out there. Right, what I'm going to do is just wet that and blend it in, and then put the C in later. I'm just going to blend that in because that blue was just a bit too strong. So I'm just coming down through it with a wet white brush. And I will put bits in for waves, etc. But I just think that was just a bit too dark. It's quite strong. It's actually resisting the paint a bit. I think I might have to just use that for accents. That blue. So pulling strong whites down and then just blending it into the sand a bit, but just pulling little accents down. So we've got little bits of light. A bit more white, just reflecting that board there. Use the white just into your beach that you've just done. Just a white edge. And just scrumble some whites in, like that here and there. Just a few little bits, probably a bit stronger just there. There's a bit of blue in there, that's all right. If you've got a bit of blue in like that, then you can make it look as though the water's just in patches a little bit. And then just with a little bit of ochre again, and white, white. Just flick through that light that you put in and just break it up. So I'm scrumbling in up and down and across, so that you're creating little, you're dragging paint down into the other surfaces, so it's not all flat. I'm dry brushing some of that down and up. And just creating this feeling of a little bit of texture. So you can see through some of the colour. You can see through some of the colour. You just have a sense of light under parts of it. Get a bit more white. Do the same down here. A bit stronger white down here. You want the water to feel like that, and then drag through it and break it up. We put all the detail of the boats and the reflections better. I'm just wanting to get this sense of light and white into parts of this area. Just going to make that boat's going to be more broken. So I'm not going to have it dead neat painted. You don't want it dead neat painted, so just little sense of reflections, etc. Bit of white and yellow just on that side, because that's going to be the sun's coming this way from the right, so this boat wants to be lighter over onto that side. And a reflection down off that side. And a little bit of water just underneath. You don't want it to be, you want the water to feel as though it's coming through a little bit, just underneath the boat, just there. That's all right. That's good. All these colours will be pushed together and detail put in. It's just really a matter of blocking in where you want to be. Need a bit more light down here, so a little bit more white and colour. In a second, show your work on. Sorry, I can't read that. Show your work to the left. We can't see the picture on your shirt. I'm going to move the cameras eventually. Can't see the picture on my shirt. I'll stand. I'll tell you what. I'll get a longer brush, Anne. I'll get a longer brush. I will sort the cameras out for when we come to detail. I'm going to spend this afternoon messing around with the cameras. I'm just flicking over. The reason I'm flicking over colour is that you've got little bits shining through and little bits of dark, so it's all about loose flicks. Just going to put it a bit lighter, just underneath the sand dune there. In there. I'm dragging colour. What I want is edges not to be dead hard. That's why I'm dragging stuff over into parts, so it's not hard edges all over the place. Put bits of light into that area down there. I might put some distant figures in down here, you know, just to give a scale. I might put some figures in. I think that's all right. Just dry brushing some stuff down with the side of the brush, just so you get a sense of light in parts. Right, I've got to figure out where to put these dogs. That's looking all right. It's got the scale of it. I need the C. She doesn't want as much C in, so I might take a bit more. I might take the beach out just that little bit farther. So I might take the beach out a little bit, because she said she doesn't want a lot of C in. So just taking a little bit of the raw sienna and the white out a bit more. And she wants some seagulls in as well. Where would you put the seagulls? Here. My shirt is in the road. Sorry, my shirt's in the road. Sorry, Anne. Longer arms, yeah. What I need to do is to get the camera altered from this shoulder to come over to the other side. That way it should work. I'm going to fit a camera under the easel that sticks out and shines in on the detail. That's what I'm going to do, concentrate on this afternoon. So I think probably where we want to be, I'm going to put the more stronger C's, etc. in. I'm just going to Where's the dogs at? Right, she's got 3 dogs. She wants one with a bunny collar on. So, am I on a different? Oh, I'm on a different camera. That's why it is. That's why I'm blocking your view. There you go. That's bright. That like I need the contrast knocking down on there. Just see if I can knock the contrast down. No, I cannot. I knock the contrast down on there. So I've got 3 dogs, and she wants that bunny collar putting on one of them. So I've just got to make my mind up where to put them. Where the hell do you think the dogs would go? They're bouncing all over the place. They're not static.
Swimming.
Right?
Swimming.
Swimming. Put the dog isn't swimming. Right. So I'm just going to mark in where I want the dogs to be with just a little brush. I'm just going to use a bit of white to put in where they want to be. So I'll go back to the camera and I promise to stay out of view. I think these dogs want to be about here, so I think that one there is sort of running there with its tail up, like that. The other one just here, they're sort of scampering around the little tree just here. Just like that. And the whippet type one, they're both whippet like looking dogs, just coming in from the side a bit. Can't be too big, because you've got to get in the boat. So I think that's where the dogs will be. I'm just putting in a sense of shadow underneath them, just so I can establish where they want to be. The sun's coming from the side, so the shadow would be here. I think that's where I'll put the dogs. I think that's about right still. I mean, I'm going to be putting more detail into rocks down here and little bits of seaweed. You generally get, when the tide comes in, you generally get a trail of seaweed. And just get a bit of colour. And you would generally get a trail of seaweed. If the tide's going out, the seaweed would be sort of left around this area, coming around like the beach round here. I'll put it in, then I'll make my mind up whether I want to keep it. So the seaweed would be on like a trail around here, just sort of left in edges like that. I could always alter it. Seaweeds, depends on whether it's dried out or not. When it's wet, it's sort of a very greeny blue. When it's dry, it's sort of a burnt sienna colour. So this would be all wet. So I might put the seaweed in. It'll help sort of give a scale to the picture, and then putting some rocks in there. I'm playing now. I'm just sort of trying to establish where I want to. So the dogs are going to be there. This boat's going to be tilted into the water as though it's just seated, and that boat's going to be sort of settled in the water a little bit. Not too much. It's very shallow into there, and I've got obviously the sea to tidy up and paint in properly. I think that's about it though. I'm just going to put it across the top of that dune up there and establish where that's going to be. So I think that's it. I can't go much farther. That look alright, doesn't it really? That look alright. So on Friday when I'm down, I'll start painting in the detail into the castle. I'll completely detail this, make the sea proper waves, etc. coming in. Not waves so much, but as ripples coming in. And then work my way down, painting all the detail in dogs, boats, etc. I don't want the boat to be bright brand new. I want it to feel as though it's worn and broken paint on the edges, etc. So I think we'll look at that, and then bits of rocks into here. Much better, thank you. I'm going to sort the cameras out. This is a camera I've just tried out. If I can figure out how to get to it. There you go. That's a camera which is a more natural. You won't see it on there because it's only through there, but it's there. Can you see on there? This camera is more natural. It's farther back. And I think I might try and get that camera up clipped onto the easel up here behind me right shoulder, so that it would be, I would be here and the camera would be coming in from the right. That way I won't be interfering with it. Here I'm interfering with the detail, aren't I? But if the camera was over my right hand shoulder, see, I can't keep painting detail from out here. I can't work at that angle. So that's what I'll do. Wait a second. So that's my palette. That's my palette. That's a glass, and I can scrape the paint off all over the floor. And I've got a box, a wet box, to put that in, so it should keep it reasonably wet. Right. Good to see how acrylics are done. Right, Janet. Yes. There's a lot to do still. There's a lot of detail still to go in. So that's the picture, and that will be brightened up. You can't see the top of the sky at the moment, but I will fix the camera up so that I can come in on this side and you'll be able to see from this angle. So I think we'll leave it at that, because what time is it? 20 past. Because I can't paint anymore, I need to adjust all of this. I'm getting the top of the easel. Wait a second. That still shows me the camera, that's all. I'm getting the top of the easel sawn off on Thursday. The lads from over the road are going to saw it off, because I've got to come down here to paint detail. And the easel's hitting the roof. When I wind it up, it's hitting the roof, so I need a bit sawn off so that I can wind it up more. And I don't have to balance it on this bit of wood. I've got to balance it on a bit of wood because it's too hard. Right, okay then, folks. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you, Jen. I'll not paint any more into it. I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to do it while you're not watching. So on Friday, I will do a bit more, and I'll try and detail the whole castle in. And it'd probably take 2 more lessons, because I've got detail on the boats, the dogs. I want the sea to be right. But I'll start with the castle, because that's going to, if I get that done, then I can move it way down. So Ken's here, folks. Ken's here.
Well,
Thank you. Ken says it looks brilliant. Ken says it's the best painting he's seen all seen all day. I'm fine, I'll show you, Ken. I've got to sort of work my way through these cameras and wires. There's wires all over. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to try and move this. Don't get seasick, to see if it will work. I'll tell you what, the camera will go. I've got to get rid of these wires. So there's Ken. Hello, Ken.
hiya.
This is the castle. Now, if I was to clip it up somehow up here and get it focused, that would work, wouldn't it? So if it was here, that would actually work. You can't see it on that screen, can you?
On your laptop.
On there, the laptop, yeah. I've just got to get it focused in, and then I can actually, so that's really close. So I can maybe move it out like that. Sorry, don't get seasick. I can maybe move it out like that and then zoom in when I do detail on the boats, etc. I like that idea. I'll play around with that this afternoon. Right, folks. We saw Jeannie, enjoyed that, even the back of your shirt. Jeannie's saying hi, Ken.
Oh, aye.
You want to see the front of my shirt? I've got paint on it. Right, okay then, folks. I'll leave it at that. Sorry, I'm on a different camera altogether. I don't know what you're seeing there. You know, I'll get professional one of these days. There you go. Right. So I'll leave it at that. That looks bright. That's strong because the contrast so much. But I'll sort the camera out so that it's contrasting. So I've got 4 cameras here, all aiming in different directions, and I will have to get them sorted. There's wires here that I'll trip over, but I'll get it sorted. So right. So I'll see you all later then. I'll see you later, and we'll carry on Friday. But I'll see you tomorrow night anyway on the screen. I've lost my mouse. I've got paint on my laptop. Right, how do I stop this thing? Where are we at? I need a different camera. Outro doesn't work. I'm just going to knock it off. Right, I'll see you later, folks. Bye. I can't get it off. I can't get it off. Right, I'm gonna go. I'm going.